Dents and scratches putting a dent in your day? Introducing Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide, your trusted solution for automotive woes. With over 2 decades of expertise, Roger Steen Crash Repairs guarantees top-notch service, restoring your vehicle to its former glory in no time. From minor dings to major collisions, our skilled technicians handle it all with precision and care, using state-of-the-art equipment and techniques.
Roger Steen Crash Repairs saved my car. It looks brand new.
Fast, friendly and reliable. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my vehicle. Don't let accidents slow you down. Visit Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide at 14 Penner Avenue, Glynde for quality service you can count on. And here's a special offer just for our listeners. Mention this podcast and receive a $100 discount on your repair. Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide. Excellence in every repair.
Past players, past legends, past legends.
There's talk that everyone will play, so they're going to have. I think there's going to be over 12 first-class cricketers in the game, which is sensational. But then what do they do? Because how's Spencer going to be ready to play Shield cricket?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how's he going to bowl 20 overs in a day when he's not bowled more than 4 in a day? And I mean, look, off the field, he'll have to start maybe working on his workloads, but he's also probably getting ready for an IPL as well.
Yeah.
In April, and that's where the structure's all over the place. It just doesn't seem right, does it?
No. Look, that 2020 semi where you played Northern Districts, that catch, you probably had a better view of it than me, Hags, because I was on the other side of the oval. The catch by your West Torrens goal where he knocked it back and then looked like he knocked himself out as he hit the ground, that is one of the best catches I've ever seen, Hags. It was incredible.
Well,
Go through that a bit.
That was the brother of Ben Manenti, Harry Manenti. So we've got Harry Manenti at our club this year, who's an exciting talent. He made the team of the year for both white ball comps. So he's someone to look out for in the future. And he actually made his first 100 for us with the bat on the weekend, and he's taken an 8 with the ball in a red ball game. So he's having a great year, and he's a bit younger than Ben, so he's still got a bit of time behind him. But mate, it's probably, you look back on little moments, and that was probably a big moment to win the game, because he's done the dive backwards over the boundary line and managed to somehow throw it back into Dan Fallon. And as you said, he whacked his head pretty hard. I thought we might have lost him for the rest of the game, but he got up again and managed to even bowl another over, I think, after the second last over. So, and he did it again in the final over. I think they needed 13 off the final over, and you take 6 off of that, that's 7 off 5, and he managed to actually.
That's right, he
do
hit
the same
2.
thing.
Yeah.
There was no one there he did it the other end of the ground. There was no one there to throw it to this time, but he saves, they ran 1 or 2 instead of getting 6. So, mate, brilliant fielding.
It was incredible. It's not often that you're at a district game and you go
local level, that
you go, geez, it's a privilege to have seen that, and that's how good it was. I just was having a look at both games, wandering one because they were both at Carrum-Rolton, one and then the other, and saw that and thought, wow, I'm so glad that I saw that piece of fielding.
Nobody got it on camera?
Sure.
I reckon it missed. I reckon he was near frog box, so it was to the side, wrong end.
Spewing.
So, I don't reckon it got it.
So, Hags, go through your coaching career, because you've been around a fair bit now. You were also bowling coach with South Australia, personally, and again, I don't really want you to comment here. You were also playing cricket at Grange, where if the remuneration had been done properly, you would have only been the bowling coach. I always thought that was quite ridiculous, but we'll leave that alone. But go through, and you've now coached West Torrens, for 8 years, and you've had a hell of a lot of success there, Hags, in all, the 2020, the 1 day, the 50 over comp, and also the district comp. So you had a hell of a lot of success in a real golden era for West Torrens Cricket Club?
Yeah, no, I've been lucky. Funny enough, the first contract I ever signed for the SAC, and my manager at the time, and I don't think I even realised this at the time, but he tried to organise to get me more money, I assume, to have a bit of a coaching thing, because as I said, blokes back in the day had jobs and that, and I just went to high school, so I started off just going out to, you go out to schools and do what they'd call appearances, but also coaching clinics, which were with some of the guys that became mentors to me in Peter Muggleton and Andrew Zessis. And then from there, I got involved with under 15s and with Mick Rotherald in under 15s, and I was the bowling coach there. And by then, I'd played state cricket when I was doing the 15s, and so that was exciting because I know all the kids, could see that obviously I'm this guy that plays on Adelaide Oval now, and I was rubbing shoulders with Blewett and Lehman and Sims and that, and I think so you got the respect there, and they were all very keen and eager to listen. So, and I was very keen and eager to pass on what I was learning, because I was learning on the spot too. So I couldn't wait to pass that on to the next generation, and it was really cool. I think the first year I had Matthew Broadbent and Hamish Hartlett in my under 15 state squad. Funny enough, they went on to be Port legends, but don't
hold that against them, Hags. It's all right,
mate. we then went from 15s to 17s. I got involved in the 19s, and I went my way up until I became a 19s coach. And I 17s second 11 coach. I just about done everything there other than being the head coach. I did the second 11 coaching. I did the strength and conditioning coaching a year there. So I've sort of been heavily involved for a while there. And then it just got to that stage where I was ready to go. Maybe need to go see what it's like to not be involved in cricket full time for a while and not coach. And I left while my wife had children and joined a business she was a director of. And that was just good to just get away and see what it felt like to actually appreciate. Oh, thank God it's Friday. I never understood what that meant. That phrase, thank God it's Friday, but I think once I started going to the workforce. But actually, it didn't take long before I think the Redbat League came out, and there was an offer to coach one of the teams, the Western Grit. And I found myself all of a sudden going, I'm interested in cricket again. And before you know it, you're sitting at your desk and you're thinking about team selections on the weekend rather than work, and that probably made me sort of aware that I was probably ready to go back to cricket. And then by chance the West Torrens job come up, and it was an amazing one because at the same time I'd finally said yes to wanting to go to West Torrens, and they asked me to coach them. I got an email saying that West Torrens and Port might be merging, and there may not be a club. So I went from being excited to a bit sort of, I don't know if I've got a job now, if I'm back into cricket or not. But I had done some work with the Western Grit, which had Drew and Johnson and Kelvin Smith in it. So I knew we had, and I think Lee Drennan. So I knew they had some talent, but when I looked at how West Torrens had gone, they sort of had only won one game the season before I took over, and so it was a strange one because it was, as I said, there was some decent talent there, young and raw talent, but they had no success. So I was really excited about doing club cricket for the first time, and amazingly, it was one of those weird years where everything went your way, but we managed to win all three competitions in the first year and only lost one game. And funny enough, the one game we lost was the only game that Callum Ferguson was available for us in. So,
I'll remember that next time I run into Ferg. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and Fergie was nice enough that night to take the boys out for a drink and paid for everything and said, "Look, boys, we're not going to lose another game." Him and Trent Kelly said, "We're not going to lose another game," and they were right. And it was quite amazing. And then I think that was the start of some careers where Drew won the Brabham that year, and we started to see the start of Spencer's career and Kelvin and look, I've been lucky. We've won a double as well, and we're obviously in a final this Sunday. So a lot of the the players, there's been a changeover in a lot of the players, but there's, I've really enjoyed it and love it. It's not obviously something you can do forever, but it's while I'm doing it, I'm really loving it at the moment. And I love when the guys, they're easy to coach because they're so passionate. What I've found out is I know that when I played at the club, if it was 41 degrees on a Tuesday like it is today, they'd be heading to the beach. But Bailey Capel's already told me he'll be at training tonight. He'll be ready to go. And that's the dedication of some of these lads. They don't believe in taking a day off, and that inspires you to
I think with Bailey, that comes from, let's be honest, that comes from his parents, and you couldn't get a more family get involved at a level at a club level than his fantastic parents too. There with Andrew and that. So yeah.
Yes. No, I've been very lucky in my time there. I've watched Kelvin and Drew and Johnston and Buckingham and Bailey himself all play Shield cricket, and that's the aim, is to keep helping those guys along the way and see if you can help get a few more over the line. And it was fantastic last year. I think the last game of the year, the 12 they named, there was 5 from West Torrens in the Shield team, so I was pretty excited about that.
Quick one, Hags, on this one. Your experience of playing county cricket for Worcestershire.
Yeah, I was just about to ask the same thing.
Yeah, county cricket, amazing. It's when I was over there in '95, I got asked by a few counties would I be interested in going. I was only 21 at the time, and I'll never forget Stewie Law, whose son is actually in my academy this year over from England. I remember Stewie saying, mate, you're too young, don't do it, you can get injuries and stuff, you can always do that later on in your career. So I sort of took his advice from a fast bowler, which, whether he's right or wrong, who knows, but I chose then to avoid it until I got closer to the end, what I thought was the end of my career. I guess sometimes you feel like you gave up too soon, and other times you don't know. I mean, Ryan Harris debuted at 30 for Australia, where I was starting to pull the pin on playing for Australia at 30 because I thought I was done. But the opportunity to come up to go to Worcester, and it was a 2-year deal, and I sort of talked to Greg Chappell at the time, and I said, look, what do you think? And he goes, well, it's up to you, mate, but it'd be a great experience, and really it's up to you, but I'll support you either way. And I thought, well, let's maybe have a go. And I mean, my dad, who passed away 20 years ago this year, he passed away the same year as Hooksy. He was from England, and he came over in a boat when he was 6. So I really wanted to get over there because I was hoping that would lead to getting him over there and getting a chance to go back home for the first time ever. He'd never been back to England. So that sort of inspired me a little bit too. And so I have got, heritage there. And just the difference was back then it was you are basically playing and not training. You barely trained. You were playing 4 or 5 days a week, and I guess the negative and the positive was if you had a good game, you didn't get long to celebrate it because you could be in 2 days' time you've already played another game and that's forgotten. But on the other side, if you had a bad day, you knew you can move on pretty quickly. So it was just a bit of a whirlwind over there, and again, very lucky to have played with some great players. Graham Hick being one of them, who uttermost respect for, and just got presented my cap on the oval and by Basil D'Oliveira,
famous name,
famous name, and English captain. And look, it just very lucky to have experienced it. I'm so glad I got to, because it is a great experience over there. If you love your cricket, it's so different to Australia, but it's like, the Aussies, the English that come out here in my cricket academy, they love the difference in Australian cricket and the different things that go on. And,
true.
Just like we probably feel the same way when you go over in England. It's, amazing experience playing at grounds like Lords and Headingley and all those sort of places. So, it was unfortunately cut short because my father became ill during my second year, but I was lucky enough to get nearly 2 full years out of there before I had to retire.
Have to ask about the obviously the conditions are completely different, but the balls, being a bowling specialist, what were some of the intricacies with the different balls that are obviously used in England and obviously in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, with the Duke ball to the cooker, so the cooker, I know, like I could come in and swing it from ball one, and then sometimes, well, it depends how well the ball was looked after, but a kookaburra will slowly stop swinging, and especially in the day back in the day on Adelaide Oval, where we would then quickly try to get it go reverse because the way the wicket broke up and how dry the wickets were there at Adelaide Oval, that you could get it to go reverse. So that was sort of one of my specialties there. But in England, it's a bit different. It's sort of if you get the new ball in your hand, it sometimes doesn't swing until the lacquer comes off it, and then it seems to swing the rest of the day. So it's a strange one, because if you don't like swinging a cricket ball, well, I feel you would struggle, because at any stage the ball's probably swinging in the conditions. I mean, no doubt there's obviously going to be some flat and dry pitches at different times where maybe the ball won't swing, but you can play in a game over in England where the ball swings the entire day. So
does that make you just feel more in the game than say the real flat times here at bowling, especially at Adelaide Oval?
I reckon it does. To be honest, and
yeah.
It's a different, and that's why basically why you'd question that we produced a lot more quick bowlers, because in those circumstances the ball often got thrown to the big quick and said, right, try to get a breakthrough here, and you'd run in and try to either put someone on the back shoe or try to hit them on the foot. But over there, they produce a lot more of the, well, people say the word dibbly-dobbler. I think
that's exactly what I was thinking of, though. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it dibbly-dobbler. I think that's a bit harsh. There's guys that still might bowl 130s, but they just run in, they're not express pace, so they run in and bowl swing. And with the ball swinging a lot more, well, you're in the game still. So it's a good challenge. It's just amazing how many people have had success here in Australia but struggled there, yet over there, there's people that have been really successful and they struggle here. And it's such a good thing to do as a young cricketer, to try and get over to England, or for an English guy to get to Australia, because, just to get used to the different conditions, pitches, balls you use, I think it's, only going to help you as a cricketer. So it's
a bit of frustrations of South Australian that Chad Sayers never went on a tour in terms for Australia.
It's amazing how things come a little bit full circle. I'm not sure whether you did it, but I definitely did it when playing a bit of street cricket or backyard cricket, where you'd wrap half the ball with electrical tape and it'd swing a mile. So it's just funny how things go full circle there.
And we all did it.
And I just heard you say Chad's name before. I mean, Chad would have just dominated playing county cricket. I'm surprised he didn't finish a season or two over in county cricket.
Yeah, I think it was quite complicated by then, because he didn't have the Australian bit. There was a reason that he played for. I do remember Chad telling me, and I can't remember now the exact reasoning, that it was quite difficult. It wasn't an easy one for him just to be a player. So because he'd played for anyway, on that. Where do you see South Australian cricket now? How's your thoughts on the two-division bit, how it's going, and
what can be improved?
Yeah, and what's the movements for? What's your thoughts, Ags?
I'll only ever say what I've been saying to people, and to be honest, I don't. Not everyone's going to agree, but I still think there's too many teams. I've never, for 30 odd years, I've been saying I just don't like the uneven numbers. I still think 12 teams makes sense. Look, you could get it down to 10, but let's at least try to get it to 12 before we start jumping to 10 and 8 and all those sort of things. At least get it to 12, and you can actually run a proper program, and you can have a sliding draw. You don't have to have two divisions, but like AFL football, you can have a sliding draw. So your top two teams are going to play each other twice in the year, and your bottom two teams are going to play each other twice in the year, and it filters out like it does in AFL football. To me, that would be the best draw.
Yeah, I'm still that way as well.
I just don't quite like. I can't say, and it doesn't affect me at West Torrens. I don't have any under 19 players in the under 19s this year, but I know I'd feel if I had one or two missing each game because they're playing in the 19. So I just think you learn, I've watched Bailey Capel from a 16-year-old win premierships up to now he's, 22 or 3. Mate, you can't tell me that he wouldn't have been better off being down the other end of Kelvin Smith and Daniel Drew and Trent Kelly even and Andrew Hazlitt than he would have been, in an under-19 team where they're all young, they're getting flogged each week, and
let's
some positives out of it.
let's use young Matchett out of that he plays in Kensington's premiership side last year. They lose Ross and Brown retires and all that. So it would have been a logical progression. He would have gone up the batting order this year, but he ends up now having a captain the under-19 side. And also, Pete, the other bit about the under-19 side, because of the age, they've still got the bowling restrictions. So there was one game where someone had 3 or 4 for 10 and he had to come off because he'd bowled his overs. Yep. So, again, it's not only that, captaining, it's actually a harder game to captain than a normal game. So I think they've just thrown him in the deep end, and I think young Halfpenny from Teatree Gully might be the only one who's progressed a fraction, and even that's debatable.
Yeah, exactly right. And the other thing we've got to take into account this is from a personal side of things, is you now look at coaches like Peter Muggleton and I, who's been a mentor, and I think he's a fantastic coach. Sturt went down last year. He's retired from, he still works for me at the Lehman Academy, but he moved on as coach of Sturt.
Yep.
Now, you're in a situation at the moment where it's still very open. Glenelg could probably be the only safe team, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
But there's a few teams in trouble, and one of them being Kenzie's, one of them being my team. Now, asking Russell and I to continue on coaching next year if we end up in Division 2, right now, very hard to say whether I would.
Yeah, and I do think too, I don't think it's encouraging positive cricket, where at the moment everyone's really, they're sort of protecting and don't want to lose. Well, that's helping our chances. We want to get Kenzie to go down. I understand where it's coming from. And like Uni a couple of weeks ago, I was actually at that game, Uni and Kenzie. I'm thinking, Uni, for goodness sakes, declare your best chance to win this game. You should be bowling by now. But they were still batting because they didn't want to take the risk. And
yes,
I don't think that's helping overall whatsoever.
No. Well, another thing I'd love to see him do is, I've been saying this for a few years, if a team wants to bat on into the next day and use up past their allotted overs, well, then they forfeit the right to get 5 points. So,
yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
We had that the week before. Like, our last 2 games have been draws now. We unfortunately have East Orange 9 down. And they held on for a draw. The week before against Port Adelaide with the rain and stuff, Port Adelaide batted 85 overs and gave us 50 to try and get what they got.
Yeah.
And it was never happening. And I just feel like that should then you give up the right to get the 5 points for the draw, and I think that would help that problem.
Well, you wouldn't have batted on Saturday with that. Yeah, and I understand why you did, but you would have debated on Saturday. Do I want to? Geez, I'm doing the right thing as coach. Let Kelvin get his 200, so it's only going to be 1 ball. But the situation at the end, you're going out at the moment. Yeah, you're going. Geez, I wonder if we lost that 5 points by not declaring. So yeah.
And, mate, no one was more angry than Kelvin.
I can imagine that. Yeah,
he was happy to declare, and he ended up. He's now only the second bloke in West Orange's history to make 2 doubles. And now he joins Paul Noves, and we couldn't ask the club declare, but that says a lot about him too, and where the club's at. That he, was willing to do that, and you would have thought there was a 1 in a million chance it would come down to 9 down like that, but unfortunately it happened. So frustrating, but
other influences like Jamie Siddons, as he was known as the boss, and just go through some other influences through your career quickly, Hags.
Yeah, so Jamie, funny enough, and he laughs about it, but I was scared of Jamie from day one. I was just, he's 10 years older than me, and coming in out of high school and having him there, and I just didn't for me, it was all about impressing him. He started second slip, and I knew pretty quickly by his reaction whether I was bowling well or not. And I used to get excited if I saw him rock up to a grade game and I knew he was in the crowd. I'd probably bowl 5-10 Ks quicker. So it was great to have him. Darren Lehman again, completely different sort of captain, a bit more
relaxed,
and fun. But also, he wanted to win too, and knew how to play hard. And I think Buff is obviously stuck in a batsman's body who wished he could bowl fast, because I know he enjoyed telling me, and I know he enjoyed telling us to try hit blokes. And lucky to have played under those two guys. Greg Chappell, as a coach, it was a great experience having, as again, like Rod and Lily, who had been involved in before, having him around and his experience, wealth of knowledge. My first coach, Bomber Hammond, was fantastic. He really, I think he got the best out of our bowling group that year to win the Shield.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way of saying it. Yep.
Yeah, George, Shane George had his best year ever under Bomber Hammond, and he was fantastic. Always grateful for Bomber's help and what he's done. So Dizzy says the same about him. We respect him highly. Then I was very lucky too to have different people in your career that want to speak to you and give you advice. And one of them was Barry Richards. He once called me into his office and wanted to speak to me about my bowling. And that's one thing you do really appreciate when people make that effort to try give you some advice and try to help you along the way. And another one was my childhood hero too, and that was Dean Jones.
Yep.
I actually I spoke to him a few times about my bowling. He sat me down one day and gave me some advice. He thought I was they'd tried to change me into a on the spot swing bowler when he said to me, I didn't like you when you were running and you're bowling wheels at me. And it's funny enough, well, not funny, I guess, but when he passed away, I remember crying, and my wife sort of said, what's happened? And I said, someone just told me Dean Jones passed away. And it took me back to my childhood, and I searched out in my man cave a video I'd made of the best of Dean Jones, and I looked at it, and it was dated only 2 years before I bowled my first ball to him in the Shield.
Yeah.
So
I get what you mean there. I did a fair bit of coaching with Dino on it, so I know exactly how the advice would have been given and all that. And he was a fascinating guy to talk cricket to.
Oh, he was, yeah. He was before his time in many ways. We could imagine him playing. A lot of people talk about who was unlucky not to be around in different eras because of 2020 and stuff. But geez, imagine him playing 2020. Yeah. Would have been exciting to watch. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, mate. We're going to get you out of here on this one, like we do with most of our guests. We like to ask for the top 2 or 3 players that you played with and the top 2 or 3 hardest against.
Okay, top 3 with. You probably can't go past Darren Lehman. And then you've got Jamie Siddons was just, a lot of people say probably one of the unluckiest to not play any higher. But I think also just as a leader and someone able to get so many people to follow behind him, and his fielding was at another class too. He was an amazing fielder. So he would be up there. And then pretty hard to go past my mate Dizzy because he was sort of under me and came in after I did, but he quickly jumped me and became a very a leader and a good influence on me in my career. The way he went about things and his confidence and the way he talked about things. So 250 test wickets is pretty amazing.
259,
from where he come from. Yeah, 259. So that'd be the obvious 3. But yeah, played obviously with many great ones. But against, I'd find it very hard to go against Dean Jones. He didn't make 300 against us in the field.
That's right, he did too. Yeah.
Ricky Ponting, I've for some reason kept playing Ricky Ponting early in my career. We played Tassie 2 or 3 times very early, and I kept coming across Ponting too. And he taught me pretty quickly don't bowl short. I knew, especially on Adelaide Oval, if you bowl short, it's going to end up in the stand. And then I'd go Alan Border from, and I'm talking Australians here because I've played quite a few from other countries, but Alan Border for me, I played him 2 or 3 times early in my career before he retired, and no one I wanted to get out more than him, just so I could say I got Alan Border out because he's obviously a legend, and he just wouldn't give me an inch. He just fought, and he was so hard to get out. He's probably the biggest regret of not getting someone out was him, and then someone like Ben Billingsley come on, bowled part-time medium pace and bowled him twice in one Shield game. That broke my heart.
Ben had a good. That was funny. Ben had a good record against AB. Yeah,
he bowled him 3 times.
Yeah.
all chopped on outside off stump. So maybe I was bowling too quick at the time. But So they'd be the best ones.
Well, you've named South Australian royalty there, and you've also named some of Australian royalty as well. It doesn't get any better than that.
Very lucky. Yeah, so I sent a message to Bush, Dizzy, and Bluey the other day, and you sit down and realise I was very lucky. I sat next to Bluey for my 10 years, and Buff, I think it was Bluey, me, Jamie, and Buff in a row on the old change rooms, and 2 of those boys have been named as 2 of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
and then you got a guy that I spent 99% of my time rooming with when he played for South Australia and hanging out with, because we were the two young quicks, and it was Jason Gillespie. And so you look back and you go, how lucky was I to be in an era where 3 of the 11 they named were played 10 years with them. So very, very fortunate.
Greatly appreciated, Hags. Look forward to catching up with you, I'm sure, around the district traps over the next few weeks. Greatly appreciate your time, and
good luck on Sunday.
Yeah, hold on.
Much.
Just hold on off air too, just for a sec, Hags. Just hold on.
We thank Mark Harrity there for his time. Obviously, we recorded that interview, Phil, with Malcolm a couple of weeks ago. Just because of the length of the interviews that we do split them up from time to time. And we thank Mark for his time, and obviously wish him the best with obviously cricketing, with what happens with their Premier League cricket, obviously, in the next couple of weeks coming up towards the end of the season. So good luck to him, good luck to his team, and we'll see how that one all pans out.
Yeah, great cricketer, and it's good to see him still involved heavily with cricket, and good on him.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe.